Welcome to the Progress Texas Happy Hour.
Welcome back to the Progress Texas Happy Hour. I'm Executive Director Kathleen Thompson.
And I'm Advocacy and Development Coordinator Tatum Owens. Happy to be here. We've built a statewide audience and reach millions of Texans monthly, thanks to folks like you who invest in independent, progressive media by Texans for Texans. Our thanks to Carla, Shoe Never Porter, Joseph Gorman, and Cherie Allen for their monthly support. We can't do it without y'all, so thank you. This is not a normal election or year, and just look around. It will take all of us, a historic show of collaboration and solidarity to give the reckoning Abbott and Trump deserve at the polls for what they've done to our communities. Look no further than March primary voter historic turnout to see Texans standing up for progressive values and union-first candidates and against attacks on working Texans, public education, and affordable health care. Working Texans are tired of being trampled by billionaire-bought politicians and interests. You can see it in support for a more affordable Texas, a version of our state that has quality education that sets people up for success, with benefits that keep you happy and healthy, with environmental regulations for climate workers that shield us all from pollution, and with protections for our immigrant neighbors under attack. It's clear that tides are changing, and with it, union membership is at the highest it's been in 25 years, with major growth in the South, plus major victories from union leaders like Taylor Ramett, who will deliver on people-first policies fighting for Texas workers. We cannot think of a better leader to talk about labor than the new president of the Texas AFL-CIO, Leonard Aguilar. Hi, Leonard. Welcome to the show, and thanks for your time today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. It's great to be here.
To start us off, would you share about the Texas American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations, what it is, and that, y'all, is the Texas AFL-CIO, all spelled out there. How long has it been around? And right now in 2026, how many Texans are members?
The Texas AFL-CIO is a state labor federation where we represent those affiliated unions that are here in the state of Texas. Right now, we are roughly at around 250,000 union members that we represent under the Texas AFL-CIO umbrella. Tatum, like you had said, the growth in labor and the numbers are increasing, and right now, union membership has increased. I believe like 273,000. I think was a number that came out a few weeks ago. That's out there, but we have roughly 250,000 affiliated members that are under the umbrella. Again, those are letter carriers, those are teachers, those are hotel workers, those are construction workers, those are grocery store workers like UFCW, United Food and Commercial Workers. And those are just to name a few. And I mean, the Texas AFL-CIO has been around for many years, and it's something that we are proud of how things are changing, like you guys were talking about just a minute ago, right? This is something where the tides are changing, working people are tired, and we are happy to be in this place. We are honored to be in the place that we're in, to be able to help facilitate this and be able to start having these conversations with folks like yourself.
It looks like y'all have been around since 1957, so we're working with decades of progress here for just the Texas AFL-CIO. And thank you, Leonard, for that extra context. Absolutely, the Texas AFL-CIO is working to fight for Texas working people who want a fair shot, union and non-union alike. So next, would you tell us about Texas union history and the state of worker protections? Before you start, we'll note that Texas remains a right-to-work state, prohibiting mandatory union membership and dues. And Texas law also prevents collective bargaining for most public employees and prohibits strikes by public employees against the state. So union history and state of worker protections here.
Well, Texas is not a union-friendly state. And I think that even says more to what the labor movement is doing now and has been doing in the past with the growth that has been happening over the decades that we've been around, right? It's impressive to see the growth and being able to do that. But the way that the state does not take care of not just union workers, but just workers in general. The state is not a worker-friendly place. And that is something that, again, that people are starting to recognize, people are starting to hear. You know, in the construction industry, I believe Texas is the deadliest state in the country. I don't know the exact numbers, but somebody is passing away on the job roughly every couple of days, I believe. The workers' comp, the lack of having workers' compensation, and you can just continue on with the list of anti-worker issues that are out there. And it shouldn't be that way. This is something where the workers are there making the state run day after day. Everybody wakes up every day for one common goal, and that's to wake up and go to provide for their families. It doesn't matter where you live in this state, East Texas, West Texas, Panhandle, or down in the Valley. It is something that we all have in common, and it's something that we should all agree on, is that workers need to be treated with dignity and respect, because it is something that we can do together. But unfortunately, those leaders that have been in charge of the state for quite some time now don't think that way, and are always against the working people of Texas.
For folks who've been in this fight for a while, we know that there are great people leading Texas's major metropolitan areas who wrote into city regulations about worker breaks, about water breaks. I think it's worth mentioning that there are a lot of people who are trying to protect workers in Texas. And then the Texas legislature comes over and says, you can't have your own laws that are going to make sure people are safe on the job and can survive a day in the 110-degree heat. Would you say something about what's happened with local protections that have been overruled by the Republican-led state legislature?
For sure. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? I mean, we elect our local council members, our local county court, our commissioners' courts, our school boards, our local races at home. And we have always have had the belief that, the local folks know how to take care of the house, right? What's in their neighborhood, what's in their city. And it's always been that way. But then here recently, over the last few years, across the street here at the Capitol, it's shifted, where it is the state capitol. Those that are in power in Austin under the dome are the ones that need to be dictating what happens in your backyard. And that's not the case. They don't know what's best for the different parts of the state. They might know what's good for their local area. But it's unfortunate, the preemption that you're talking about, and not allow water breaks for these individuals, for workers to not have a 15-minute break, I believe, right? To be able to get themselves a water break. It's not anything that is out of the ordinary. It's just it's simple respect and dignity, and a safety thing. It's the safety issue that we need to, again, make sure we're taking care of the workers. This was something that was brought forth by the local electeds and needs to be respected. And right now there's a lack of respect, I guess, for those local elected officials. And unfortunately, the workers are paying for it in that sense when they do not allow these local laws that have been passed to allow workers to get breaks and such.
Thanks for that. Leonard, bring us to the present. What are the major concerns and areas of work for the Texas AFL-CIO now, and your plans for 2026?
The major pieces of work, I mean, we're gonna focus always. I mean, politics and policy is always a big piece of work that we do. We advocate at the Capitol, we work at the Capitol, but we help our central labor councils across the state of Texas. We're here in Austin, Texas, as is the Texas AFL-CIO, but across the state we have roughly 13 or so, 14 central labor councils or area labor federations in different cities across the state. So then it's a smaller version of what we have here. They take care of the local area. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we are taking care, again, of the workers in the state of Texas, making sure that there are regulations in place to protect workers. It's making sure that we are advocating for them. I mean, some of the buckets of work that we are doing here, obviously, is politics and policy. We're focused on organizing. We need to make sure that we are organizing the workforce, not just internally, but externally as well, giving everybody an opportunity to join a union if they so choose. Our immigration work, our citizenship work is another big bucket of work that we do, is making sure that we give those that are those members and those community members an opportunity to go through these citizenship clinics where we help them go through the process so they can get to that next step. Also, is in the communication space. That's something that we have really worked on to upgrade and change how we have communicated with our membership and the public in the past. Times have changed, and we have to keep up with those times, and we are trying to do that. It seems like on a daily basis, things are changing in that space. And then also just the biggest piece, or not the biggest piece, but one of the main focuses of our work is going to be on the education side of things, is educating our members, making sure our members understand what is at stake, what is at risk, and what they have to do to continue to have the benefits that they have and continue to be able to grow in the space that they're in. And also our candidate training is another piece of that education space. Is something that we've started here, and we've been able to have one cohort of training union leaders to run for office. So education and organizing are going to be like two of the big pillars and foundations of how our new administration here is going to focus on. But again, still having all of those different spaces of work where we still need to focus. We still need to be there for our members and our affiliates, because if we're able to take care of and sustain our membership, we're able to help the community at the same time.
It takes a holistic approach to improve conditions for Texas workers, right? So your Fair Shot agenda on your website, which relates more to the public policy side of things, supports high quality public education, expanded health coverage for all Texans, the creation of union jobs in emerging industries, racial justice, and stronger workplace standards, and so much more. It's all of that and more. For our next question, we're going to talk about a statistic. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shared in February that the number of Texas union members is at the highest it's been in 25 years, following growth over the last 4 years. That's 670,000 people. A lot of them younger, too. Young people are supporting unions at a very high rate right now. You commented in a former article that the Texas labor movement is steadily growing, all despite Greg Abbott's anti-worker attacks, broken labor laws, and corporate union busting. Tell our audience about what it means to be part of a union and fight for Texas workers. And if you could connect that to your work training union leaders, that would be great.
What it means to be part of a union for me is just security. At the end of the day, that's my personal why, or my personal belief as far as what the union brings and what the union's able to offer. That's security. There are so many individuals out there that are going paycheck to paycheck, week after week, not knowing if that paycheck is going to be there, or not knowing if it's going to be good if they actually do get a check in their hand. That security of knowing that I have a paycheck, that security of knowing that I have health care for myself and for my family, that security of knowing that I have that retirement that's going to be there when I get to that retirement age, to be able to, again, to retire with dignity and respect. For me, that is my piece of what it is as a union member, is to have that security, because then I can go ahead and go to work and do what I have to do. And again, like I said earlier, is that's the one thing that we all do. It doesn't matter what political aisle, it doesn't matter what part of the state that you're in. We all wake up every day to provide for ourselves and our families, and that is one of the biggest things. And if we are all earning a fair wage, as they say, if we're all earning a good living where we can sustain ourselves, one job should be enough to be able to do that. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Unfortunately, that's not the case nowadays. And there's the affordability. The things are just more expensive, and so it is a teamwork type of thing. We need those employers. We need those good employers, but those good employers need those skilled workers. And that's where we come together, and that's where we're able to do these great things and have these great partnerships. But the security piece, I think, for me is number one. And I think for a lot of Texans, a lot of union members, it's the same thing as well. There's many other issues, but that's top of the list for me.
We talked about this at our holiday parties with State Rep Gina Hinojosa, who, of course, is running for governor. And I mentioned that my 16-year-old had just gotten his first job and worked so hard, and was getting his first check and saying, "That's it." And I said, "You are paid a little bit more than the minimum wage, but you're not supporting a family. This is for your Nike money. And you want to go thrifting with this. You're not feeding kids and keeping a roof over your head." And in Texas, the minimum wage hasn't been raised in decades. It should be criminal. And the daily life of Texans who have to work 2 and 3 jobs to support their families, it's just, it's not right. And it's a public policy choice. So I just want to vent a little bit about the minimum wage in Texas and say that I hope that we're going to be hearing candidates talking about this every day on the campaign trail, whether they're in runoffs or if they're now the nominee. I'm hoping that people will talk about the minimum wage, because a lot of people who may be brought into election enthusiasm, it may just be because we're talking about living wages. Look at what happened in other states when the focus was on affordability and having one quality job, like you're saying, that you can support yourself and a family.
No, 100%. That's the key. I mean, we go to work so we can provide, and so we can support ourselves and our families again, and so that one job should be enough, and that is something that we need to keep talking about, and we need to keep asking that question and posing the question. And yes, you're exactly right. The minimum wage needs to change. It needs to increase, and that needs to be raised. And again, unfortunately, those folks that have been in power of this state at the state capitol for the last couple of decades or so, they don't see it that way. And so, unfortunately, that is where we are. That has led us to the position that we're in, where we're in this uphill battle, trying to make sure things are getting more expensive. Things are costing more every day or every year. Things are increasing in cost, and we're not keeping up with that. And as you see union density or union membership grow, typically that the earnings are going to grow with that in that space. And so it seems pretty simple to me, is that we're able to grow the union density, the union market, and have people join the union. It not, again, like I said, not only helps our members and our affiliates, but it helps everybody else. We level the playing field, we raise the playing field for everybody at the same time.
And just one more thing about minimum wage, and I'll get off my minimum wage soapbox. I think that there's some diversity of thought amongst progressives and Democrats about, like, should the minimum wage be $10? Should it be $15? What about even 20? But I think on the other side, I think plenty of Republicans would be okay with if there were no minimum wage. So just to set that base floor, we're talking about a minimum wage that could be a few dollars difference. But on the other side, just look over at Arkansas at the rollback of protections and the rollback of age for child labor, and know that could be Texas if people don't vote this really critical election year. I can't remember a time when I didn't follow the Texas AFL-CIO on socials. For Thanksgiving, for Labor Day, your posts about union-made goods are really, honestly, very helpful to me and my family. Would you talk about how people can support union work and why they should support the Texas AFL-CIO?
Supporting the Texas AFL-CIO is again, our main focus is to help the working people of Texas. And at the end of the day, you support us, we are able to support the working people of Texas. Is to say it very simple. There are obviously union made products. There are you can go to the AFL-CIO website and you can go to the internet for that matter, and just Google union made or American made. And that's something that we've always been talking about. That's something that we've always done. Unfortunately, again, that's been politicized here over the last few years, and not really followed by certain individuals. They talk about buying American or being American in that sense of the products and the goods that are there. But the Texas AFL-CIO and labor in general have always been there in that sense. And so how you can support is buying those goods that are, again, American made or union made, because those will have a better chance of being manufactured and made in some part of the process through a union shop, I guess, if that makes sense. So if our money is going back to buy these union made products or American made products, it is helping those affiliates. It is helping those steel workers at that tire plant that are making those tires. It is helping those workers at that manufacturing plant that are building those refrigerators. Stay at a union hotel if possible. Figure out, find where that's at and support those union workers at those hotels, and so on down the line. Is just trying to figure that out, and obviously going to the websites to find that information is there. And appreciate you asking that question, because when we're investing in ourselves, we're just going to turn it back and reinvest it back to the working people of Texas.
I love to hear that. Thank you, Leonard. And pivoting to some of your other work that the Texas AFL-CIO has done this year was your endorsements. You released endorsements for the March primaries back in February. You notably endorsed in the governor's race, something labor unions have been split on, with public employees leaning Democratic and private employees with more variance, according to Mark Jones, a Rice University political science fellow. Your endorsed candidate for governor, Gina Hinojosa, says, this election is between working Texans versus billionaires, and it's time to fight for the right to organize and ensure that working families have a real voice in the decisions that shape their lives. Leonard, how do you think working people relate to the 2026 primaries, and how will they be impacted?
How I'm hoping they relate is focusing on the issues. Representative Hinojosa talking about the issues. And again, the affordability, the education, the public schools, just all of those top tier issues, those issues that when the kids get home from school or when the family is able to get together and they talk about the day or how they just talk about what's going on, those big ticket issues that we need to talk about and just continuing to talk about those. That is, it's not a very complicated system. We just have to talk about what people are concerned about. They can't get to the healthcare is not there for them. The education is not available to everybody at the same clip that it is. The fair job, the one job that should be able to support themselves and a family is not there. And I think Representative Hinojosa is talking about those things now and starting to understand that. Not starting to, she's always understood that. I mean, from her time back at the school board or with the at the school district, right? From that time until now, her time here at the state legislature, she has always been a fighter and always been an advocate for the working people of Texas, public or private sector. It doesn't matter. You're a worker in the state of Texas. You have a child that goes to school in the state of Texas. She has always been there for you, and she will continue to do that. And as she continues on to become governor of the state of Texas.
Thank you for that. And another question on your endorsements. Why do you think Texas voters supported Union First candidates in the March primaries? And how do you see that extending to the crucial 2026 midterms for protecting working people in Texas, especially for your membership and where union support will be concentrated?
People are tired of just hearing a lot of the same old, same old. And we're not coming at it. We being the Texas AFL-CIO and our affiliates, when we've come up with through our COPE process, we're not coming at this as a political right versus left type thing. This is this is us versus them. This is the way we're coming at that. And we're talking again, our big core issues are what we're talking about. We need to be able to have that one job. We need to be able to have that safe job. It is repeating the same things that are not just on repeat because it's easy. It is because they're what's needed. Those are the things that we need to address. It is the safe jobs. It is the good jobs. It is the jobs that pay a fair wage. It is the healthcare. It is the education. It is all those issues that we are talking about. We are talking about worker-centered issues. And I think, again, we are fortunate enough to have some union members that have stepped up to run for office. It's a difficult thing to run for office. I tip my hat to anybody that runs for office because they put themselves out there on the island. And for us to have union members, for us to be able to have created our labor candidate school and be able to have that first cohort come through, from where we started to where we are now, we're excited, we're surprised, we're anxious, we're nervous, all kind of combined in one because those are our brothers, those are our sisters, that's our union family that's out there, not just talking and working for themselves, but they're working for all Texans at the same time. People want to talk to somebody that are going through the same issues that they have to. The people that get up every day and go to work. That's what we believe that they are looking for. And I think that's kind of been shown in some of the elections that we've come through this past cycle or this past primary here.
As we finish out, our team has seen some storms brewing for a call to a general strike on May 1st. No school, no work, no purchases. I think people see or hear about general strikes in different countries, like farmers blocking the roads over different issues, or a waste management strike and you don't pick up to get the attention of the elected officials. What's your take on this call for a general strike? How does it relate to protections for working people in Texas, in your opinion?
In all honesty, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what that is going to do. I know we have to do something. That we need to get the attention of these billionaires, these corporations, these politicians that are not listening to the working people of Texas, and I guess for that matter, the working people across the country. And so getting their attention. I know there was a strike in Houston. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the hotel workers unite here had a strike. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it was just a couple of months ago. And what they were able to do in Houston, what Unite Here was able to do and those workers, how they came together, it not only just impacted Houston, but it has sent what shockwaves throughout the state, and people are recognizing the power of that. So I don't have an answer to your question of should we or shouldn't we, but the strike that I do know and that I did see was Unite Here, and I had an opportunity to go and walk that picket line a few different times during the 40 days, and the support from the workers, the hotel workers, from the union members themselves, from all the different unions throughout the city that came in and across the state that came in, and just from the community in general, it resonated with people and it got people's attention and it brought people together. So it is something that is there, and people are talking about it. Not quite sure at this time, in all honesty.
That's okay. We'll be in touch.
One last just random question as we finish out. So I am a young person. I understand that young people's support for unions has grown like to 70% approval or something huge like that. And I also know, in combination with that fact, that AI is a major concern for young people entering the workforce, trying to solidify and figure out what their careers will look like. I wonder, what is the Texas AFL-CIO's position on AI and how we can work with this in Texas, especially with data centers growing across the entirety of our state and a major AI development base here in Texas?
Take that kind of in two different questions. The data center piece first. I mean, that is something it is an issue that's got a lot of people's attention.
Right.
Some
Yes.
people are in favor, some people are against. It's the same thing in our space at the Texas AFL. We have some members that are in favor, some members that are against. It does create jobs. That is one thing. But making sure the creation of the jobs isn't at the expense of the worker and also the community as well. And that's something that's going to be focused on and how they are coming together. They're building them right now, and there are still more on the books to come. So making sure we're in the best position we can to protect ourselves as a whole, as a community and as workers. It's amazing to have that. We need new people to come into the mix. We need folks we need to bring in new blood. We need to get out of the same old. Just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean we need to continue doing it that way. And so having that new influx of young people is just, it's a shot in the arm. It's really good to have that, but it also, at the same time, we need to make sure that the folks, the seasoned folks that we have, they have a lot of the good ideas. They have a lot of they've been through it and they've seen it. So finding out how we bring the young and the old together to get a really good product, again, because it's not about one group or the other. It is about making sure we are doing what's good for all working Texans. And so we need to find that balance. But the more we can bring into the party, the more we can bring into the mix, as labor, as the working people of Texas, the better off we're going to be, because there are more of us than there are of them.
Mm-hmm. It's just like with any work. Skilled labor takes time, and seasoned workers and new people in the fold all together, apprentices, as you would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts, resources, or calls to action? And how can listeners get involved or support Texas AFL-CIO?
Just again, thank you guys for the opportunity. This has been great. We always appreciate the chance to talk about who we are and what we do, and if there's anybody that is interested, again, following us at Texas AFL-CIO, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter. We send out a newsletter every Thursday that gives you generally about a 5-minute read, gives you the rundown of what's happening across the state of Texas in the labor space. And that's the first, I guess, kind of the easy things to do, and then we can kind of figure it from there and take it from there. But we just appreciate the opportunity. We are in a special time. There are things happening. The working people are fed up with the same old. And I think we're all coming together. And if we can continue to just move forward together, we're going to do great things.
Thank you for joining us today, President of the Texas AFL-CIO, Leonard Aguilar. Progress Texas is an independent, nonprofit, rapid response media organization. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. Please support our work. And check out our always open Texas union-made web store. Get that merch to match your values. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please share this episode with a friend.